member of parliament, and then the ministerial oath is oath of office. Yes, oath of a minister of state is here. So let me read the ministerial oath to you again. Page 207 of the Constitution.
You don't have to. I heard the first one, but okay. if the question is,
so I want to know. Can you are not a member of the committee. You are just interjecting me, Honorable Leader. Allow me to make my point. Allow me to make my point.
Mr. Chairman,
I've read it.
With the greatest respect, now that you call me into question, what you read certainly is not the oath of a minister of state. I don't know where you conjured it from. Read from the Constitution with the greatest respect.
Honorable Leader, first, you are not a member of this committee, and the chairman never called you. So you are completely out of order. You are completely out of order. Address the chairman first.
The chairman did not give him the listen. Go ahead and
you don't rule me out of order.
Chairman.
You don't rule me out of order. You have no such authority to read me to.
Very well. Now
you have no such authority.
Order. And now I gave you the chance to raise the objection. Now please proceed.
Would you say you held that office, you upheld that ministerial oath whilst you served as the Minister of National Security? Did you upheld the oath?
Without more.
I did not hear you. Can you repeat that again?
Without more.
On a hindsight, what would you say about your involvement in the deployment of armed NPP party vigilantes in a police vehicle to brutalize and injure innocent Ghanaians at Labaoleshi during the Ayawaso West Wagon by-elections?
Mr. Chairman, there's no factual basis to that question and no proof whatsoever to the question so posed.
Were you involved in the deployment of armed party vigilantes at Ayawaso West Wagon by-elections?
Mr. Chairman, I think if you can afford the member the opportunity to rephrase the question, that if...
Don't worry. Did you authorize any people at Laobaoleshi? I think you have answered that question more than 2 times.
Because he said armed party. That part, that's where I need either rephrase or restate so that I'm sure what question I'm answering.
Mr. Chairman, my question is clear and simple. Were you involved in the deployment? I did not say you authorized. Were you involved in the deployment of the vigilantes at Labaoleshi?
Mr. Chairman, no, I was not involved.
Do you know Ernest Akomia, aka Double, a dealer in mobile phones at Tiptoe Lane? Do you know him?
I know Double, and I'm just now finding what his real name is, Ernest Akomia, but I don't know him as a mobile phone dealer.
I want to find out from you, what was Double's role at the Office of the Ministry of National Security?
I met him in the ministry at the national, the architecture there is that there's a National Security Secretariat, Council Secretariat, headed by a coordinator. And then there's a Ministry of National Security. And in their operational command, which terminates at the National Security Coordinator, there is the operations unit, and then there's a SWAT unit. I became aware that he was embedded in the SWAT unit.
Honorable nominee, under what provisions of the law did you arm and deploy the law enforcement duties of Laobaoleshi?
Go ahead, don't worry about it.
Mr. Chairman, categorical statements are being made without facts or basis. There is nothing like that. I did not do any such thing. I did not do any such thing.
Can you convince me to trust you as a Minister of State, considering what happened at Labaoleshi?
But Ato, you are my friend.
It doesn't matter.
And today you don't trust
No,
me.
I'm asking a question.
Today you don't trust me.
No, I'm asking a question that, can you convince me?
You should be
and all of
testifying
that?
on my credibility.
No, it's not about credibility. I said convince me. We are here for the people of Ghana. Okay, so we have to ask the questions that are needed. And I'm asking the questions.
Leader,
Hey, Ato.
I have to. Please, your mic's off. Hey. Now I have to come in.
Honorable nominee. Honorable nominee. Honorable nominee. In your earlier statement, in answering a question posed to you by Honorable Minister for Energy, you said nobody died as part of the Ayawaso West Wagon by-election operation. Are you aware that up to date, a gentleman named Yalo is unable to walk properly? Even though nobody died, but somebody has permanently been injured. Are you aware of that?
My good friend Ato, I think I mentioned in a preamble to this Ayawaso thing that anything that results in injury, especially around electoral violence, is regrettable. If indeed the statements that you are making is of facts, then I'm saddened by it. I've said it shouldn't have happened. I want, if you can give me any details of this gentleman, I want to visit him. You know, it should never have happened. And if indeed he's injured, then I think that the state should do something about it. But in terms of my liability to it, you know that it's not the case. But it's quite regrettable. It's quite regrettable. I'm sorry about that.
Thank you for that. But Honorable nominee, what have you done personally in your personal capacity as Mr. Bryan Acheampong, BA, for the injured or victims of Ayawaso West Wagon? What have you done personally?
Mr. Chairman, I actually want to, and I wish there was a platform for me to have been able to. But you realize that up until today, and some members of even this committee have been surprised about my involvement in the matter. It had been hyped to the extent that I didn't even think that these people will want to see my face. And if they are watching this, if there's anything I can do, because I do it for people, I do a lot of philanthropy, and if that opportunity is there, and I told you can lead me, I will want to. Not because I was involved, but because my fellow citizen, it has come to my attention that my fellow citizen is injured. And if I can, I will. And if you lead me to it, I shall do that.
Honorable nominee, the report of the Commission of Inquiry into the Ayawaso West Wagon event and the white paper on the report of the Commission of Inquiry into the Ayawaso West Wagon event both talked about the need to compensate the injured. Are you aware as to whether the government has compensated them?
I pray that they have. I am not aware whether it has been done or not. But I pray that they have. And if they have not, now that it has come to my attention, I will, whatever the advocacy that needs to be done to make sure that it is done, I shall employ my efforts to that.
Can I take it as an assurance to this committee that you will get involved and ensure that the injured or the injured are actually compensated in line with the two reports that I've just referred to?
I will find out. I'm not too sure, except for a few people. There's been a lot of changes in the ministry, a lot of changes in the last 4 years. If it is true that they have not been compensated, then I'm sure the Ministry of National Security is watching and hearing that it's come up in the committee. By now, people are scrambling there to make sure that the right things are done. I will follow up, and if it is not, I will prompt them of it.
Honorable nominee, in your earlier statement, coming from a question that a colleague asked you, you said the report never mentioned your name once. The report never mentioned your name once. Is that the case? Is that what you said?
In relation to a finding that I specifically authorized the operation, not in anywhere in the 500-page plus document.
Your name has been captured in 3 different places that I've seen in this abridged version of the report.
In relation to me authorizing,
I did not get that impression because you said your name was not mentioned even once in your earlier statement.
the chairman, I want to make it clear that in the 500-page report, the recommendation of the committee was that I should be reprimanded for authorizing an operation in a built-up area. That should take a cue from a finding in the report that says that when XYZ appeared before the committee, they said Bryan authorized us to do that. Throughout the report, there was no such evidence, yet it appeared in the recommendation, and that is exactly what I meant.
Okay. Honorable Bryan, I'm making reference to your CV. You said between 2005 to 2009, United States Air Force enlisted /Ghana, and your responsibilities included the following: attached to the Air Mobility Wing for operational readiness, managed small arms and fuel operations, executed military high command governors or presidential orders. Honorable nominee, you worked with the U.S. Army for 4 years. In what capacity did you work at the U.S. Army? In what capacity?
In the capacity as you just read.
What was your rank?
Enlisted.
Mr. Chairman, I ask this because as ranking member of this committee, it was only right for the honorable nominee to discuss this with us if he thinks that there are matters of national security and it cannot be made public. You discuss it with us before we sit here. But as I sit here, I have no information before me as if this is a matter of national security. So it's only right for me to ask those questions. Mr. Chairman, now I move on to policy. Honorable nominee, our poultry industry is struggling. What will you do